Neopian lore, what we got in store. Talking about the things that we love and adore. We're all over 20, right? We stay indoors and play this game. And love this game. Sometimes hate this game. But let's all talk about Neopian lore. Yeah! Woohoo!
Are you a cat person? A dog person? Or perhaps a Cadote person? Welcome to episode 9 of Neopian Lore, and today we are going to talk about the infamous Cadottery. I'm your host, Krista Poyman. I'll try to be as accurate as possible and attempt to pronounce all names correctly, but keep in mind, this world is fictional and this is all just for fun. Now let's cozy up to some nostalgia. As you wander through the Neopian Plaza, you grab a slice at Pizzaroos, pick out a cute toy at the plushie shop, and drop a few Neopoints in the wishing well. But something pierces your ears. Is that mewing? As you take a few steps forward, you see a building shaped like a prison with a large Cadote pet on top. Coming closer, you see 5 rows of cages with teary-eyed Cadoties looking at you. 20 in total, and underneath each you see their name and the food they desire most. Your eye catches on a pink one named Lady Wigglebottom. She needs a chocolate carrot sundae. Can Cadotes even eat chocolate? Also, ice cream and carrots, ugh. But you can't ponder this any further as the mewing becomes ever more desperate. You rush to the food shop and purchase the chocolate carrot sundae, returning to Lady Wigglebottom. Oh, she's so happy. And look at that! There's your username with a thank you beneath her cage. It's about time you got some recognition for your good deeds. You leave the Cadottery with a pep in your step and decide to treat yourself by hanging out at the Defenders HQ. After exploring the halls for a while, you want to check on Lady Wigglebottom to make sure she's still alright. But what's this? There she is, mewing again, desperate for more food. It's been, 42 minutes? How on earth could she be hungry again? The Cadottery opened on September 10th, 2004, originally found in the Neopian shops, but was moved in 2006 to the Neopian Plaza. I wonder if there was a noise complaint from the shop owners prompting the relocation. Catting is a very addictive Neopian hobby. Even after one feeds enough to earn the avatar, many find themselves returning to feel the rush of racing against other Neopians to feed the little muffins. The real-life counterparts of Cadoties, cats, are also notorious manipulators. House cats are technically considered semi-domesticated compared to dogs, cows, and pigs. House cats are almost identical to their wild counterparts, physically and genetically. They don't show the typical signs of domestication, such as more rounded facial features, a decrease in tooth size, and a more docile demeanor. And you know that piercing mew cats do when they want your attention, whether for food or for pets? Well, studies have shown that this vocalization only appears when they interact with humans, and the frequency of that mew is very similar to the cry of a human infant, activating those protective parental responses in the frontal orbital cortex in our brains. There are a few videos circulating around of a cat producing a deep meow, and once it sees the human videotaping, it quickly switches to that higher pitch. Again, master manipulators here, but man, they and the Cadoties sure are cute. So cute, in fact, they have their own Neopedia article. Oh, don't worry, sweetie bums, the walkie cooed to her Cadote through the bars of the pet carrier. I'll only be gone a week. I know you'll miss Mummy, but they'll take very good care of you. Uninspired by her owner's strange sounds, the Cadote continued to scream loudly and cry as if it were night already. Neopets walking by winced at the horrific noise, and one even offered to pay the walkie to walk away faster. Trying to smile through her gritted teeth, the walkie opened the door to the Cadottery, quickly setting Fluffy on the counter. From the back, she could hear numerous cries and mewing. It was almost unbearable. "Hello? Is anyone here?" she called, hitting the small bell on the counter. The walkie waited a few moments, but was eager to get out. Grabbing the opposite side of the counter, she hoisted herself up and leaned over, trying to peer down the hallway to where the Cadoties were kept. "Hello!" she shouted as loudly as she could. I'll do a quick rundown on how to feed Cadoties, if you've never done so or if you need a quick refresher. Not to brag or anything, but at the time of making this episode, I've fed 83 cads. Clearly, I'm an expert. Please ignore the multitude of food items in my safety deposit box that were dumped there after I wasn't fast enough to feed a cad. I don't like to acknowledge my shame. Thank you. Cads will only request food items up to a rarity 95. Cads restock at a minimum of 28 minutes. If they don't go hungry, you wait another 7 minutes and then check again. Not hungry? Wait another 7 minutes. How about now? Yes? Awesome! Go feed one, quick! You should now check for the next restock in 28 minutes and keep adding on 7 until they go again. There's always a thread in the site gains board that keeps track of the restock times. Cads don't always go right at the minute, so it's suggested to refresh for at least 30 to 90 seconds after when they're potentially to go hungry. If it's been a long time since you catted, the restock times are slightly different than when first released, adjusted to the current system back in 2007. There's something called a main and a mini. The main is where the majority of the Cadoties go off at the same time. Now, you'll notice there's usually 1 to 5 hungry cads near the top. These are the greedy ones. These guys are asking for foods that are unbuyables. Once one is fed, it's on its own time called a mini, but eventually should sync up with the rest of the cads. You don't need to bow down to these guys. The owner of the Cadotie probably takes the unbuyable items that it is supposedly fed to the cad to sell later. Something shady is going on here. Back in the day, it was common to see cads asking for drake eggs, which at the time were 15 million neopoints. We won't go into the Neopet ethics of that, but those were later retired from the Cadottery. Maybe it was drawing too much attention to the shady side of this quote-unquote boarding house. If it gets bad enough and there's a whole row of hungry, greedy cads, someone ends up dishing out the neopoints to feed them, and the community rejoices. There's no limit to how many cads you can feed a day. You can even snag more than one in the same restock if you're fast enough. Side accounts are also fair game as long as the neopoints/food is supplied from your main account and you aren't feeding with both accounts at the same time. But how do you feed them, you may ask? Well, the most common way is using the shop wizard. I would suggest not trying to find the best deal while catting. Most of the items are under 5,000 neopoints anyways, so you'll just have to eat the price difference, but Though if you have Super Shop Wizard with premium and you can get the lowest price, lucky you. Some people opt for the safety deposit box or inventory route, where you have items cads ask for on hand and just feed them by clicking on them. But there are so many items they request that I can only imagine this really working for hardcore cad feeders. It hasn't always been smooth sailing at the Cadottery, though. In 2006, there was a stint of time where cads would request items at random times, and the asking of drake eggs returned. So, you fed some cads. Want to know your prize? Feeding one gives you a bronze trophy, 10 silver, 25 gold, and 75 warrants an adorable avatar featuring the pink Cadotie with the word mew on it. But if you're really lucky, you could win an actual Cadotie from feeding them. That's right, that sought-after 30 million Neopoint pet. Oh, wait, no, just kidding. That was a rumor. Oh, those Neopians and their rumors. Wait, the rumor was started by who? TNT? In an editorial, they stated, "It is possible to win a Cadotie from the Cadottery if you look after enough Cadoties. Otherwise, Cadoties are sold in the pet shop for around 18,000 neopoints." This was redacted in a later editorial with the statement, "It was intended to be a prize from the start, but several things have made it so that we had to remove this functionality. Sad face. Before you ask, no one won a Cadotie from it before it was removed." Honestly, I think it would be a great way to help with inflation. Or they can make it where it wasn't random, but something like if you feed 500 Cadoties, you can adopt one. That way it doesn't tank the pet, but at least it's somewhat obtainable. This setup would almost be similar to the concept of a cat cafe. If you don't live in a trendy or hip town, you may be unaware of this new phenomenon. No, you don't eat cat food at cat cafes, but you can get a cup of coffee and cuddle with some kitties. The first was called the Cat Flower Garden, founded in Taiwan in 1988. Japan followed suit, and it really took off there due to the high percentage of the population living in apartments and condos which don't allow pets. When it arrived in the US, cat cafes also offered customers to adopt cats. This has helped many shelters up adoption rates and put less strain on the overcapacitated shelters. There are actually a lot of health regulations for cat cafes, and it can be really difficult to get a store permit. As you can probably guess, animals and food don't mix very well, so the cafe must be separate from where the animals are actually housed. How cute would it be, though, to bring your laptop to a cat cafe, open up Neopets, and feed a Cadotee while the real-life thing was nestled in your lap? So freaking cute! TNT seems aware of the cat cafe phenomenon and made a few wearable items. The Cadotee cafe background, the Cadotee cafe waitress wig, the description: "You've been running around the cafe all day, serving drinks, petting Cadoties. Thank goodness you tied up your hair in braids for this busy day." The Cadotee cafe shirt, the Cadotee cafe tea tray, and the Cadotee cafe waitress dress, with the description: "Free cafe drinks and sweets. You get to pet the Cadoties whenever you like, wear a cute uniform, and you get paid. So, will you take the job?" Though I think they should shorten it to the Cad Cafe to better allude to the Cat Cafe. Is this cafe in competition with the Cadottery? Is it just a shop out the back of the feeding area? I need answers. This is the important stuff. "Be right there," a voice shouted, startling the walkie so badly that her stomach slid off the counter and she fell backwards onto the floor. "Oh, sorry, miss. Didn't hear you come in," the caretaker said, removing a ball of cotton from each ear. "Can I help you?" The caregiver looked around. "Hello, miss?" The walkie said, placing a paw on the counter and pulling herself up from the floor. "Here, why are you on the floor?" The walkie glared briefly at the caretaker, then pushed Miss Fluffy's carrier towards him. "I'm going on holiday." "Holiday, gotcha. Will 1 week do?" the caretaker asked. "Perfect," the walkie said, smiling. Every evening at 11 p.m. Neopian Standard Time, the Cadoties no longer cry, but wail. No matter how much you feed them, stroke their little paws through the cages, or talk in a soothing voice, nothing can calm them. If you read the Pet's description, it's made blatantly clear that Cadoties do not like the dark. But TNT has stated they do turn off the lights in the evening at the Cadottery. So mean. Unless, maybe they have a reason to turn them off. Look, I've seen the film Gremlins, and there is no way I'm opening up a Cadotee's cage when I had just fed them after midnight. But at 3 a.m., the crying stops, and they are back to their normal selves. There are over 200 names for the Cads, and someone, potentially a bored intern, had fun coming up with the stunning names such as Spoing, Lawyerbot, Food for Termy, GX4_Cadotebot, Bigglesworth, Help! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, and so many more. The editorial had the following comment on how Cads got their names. Cadoties are rescued by Cadottery staff who clean and groom them before they make their way to the Cadottery floor. This helps them attract feeders. Once this is done, they are set free in this huge room at the back of the Cadottery. This room has pet toys and a quite large space for Cadoties to play. This room also has many, many cages, each with a name on it. Every Cadotee can wander until they choose a cage and the name that suits them best. Only then are they placed out front to await the kind feeders of Neopia. We hope that answers your question, and you don't write back asking who puts the names on the cages in the first place or anything like that. This comment raises some questions. I thought the Cadottery was a boarding house. Are they finding abandoned Cads? Are they the ones sniping them from the pet shop? Are they causing the ridiculous inflation of the darn pet? I'm telling ya, I don't trust this place. One Cadoti is wired a bit differently from the rest. From its CCG, it has the description, "When it is morning and the sun rises, the mutant Cadoti cries continuously until it gets dark again." There is one infamous mutant, the greedy Cadoti, who will appear in a random event and wails incessantly until the Neopian gives a little over 5,000 Neopoints to its owner. That's super scammy and scummy. They're purposely bringing out their pet that doesn't like the day into an uncomfortable environment for them to manipulate Neopians out of their hard-earned Neopoints. Someone call the Pet Protection League. They must be stopped! "I'll miss you, sweetie bums," the walkie said to the Cadoti, nuzzling its nose with hers through the bars. "Mommy will be back to pick you up in a week, so be a good girl." With that, the walkie paid the caregiver and left. When she got home, the walkie immediately went upstairs. Turning the lights out, she went to pull her earplugs from under her pillow, threw them across the room, and promptly went to sleep. That's all for this episode of Neopian Lore. All characters and licensing belong to Neopets.com. Music was created by me, Krista. Today's composition is called The Cad Cafe. I hope you have a lovely day in Neopia.